My girlfriend disappeared for an entire week. No texts, no calls, nothing. And when I finally found out why, I realized she had been hiding something from me the entire time. Something that completely destroyed everything I thought we had. She was pregnant. And the worst part? It wasn't mine. This all happened a few years ago. My ex and I had what most people would call a normal relationship. Nothing crazy, nothing toxic. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but we always worked things out. At least, that's what I believed. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, and over time, I grew really close to her. I'd help her with homework, spend time with her, and honestly, I started to feel like I was part of a small family. We weren't perfect, but we were stable, or at least I thought we were. Looking back now, I realize I ignored a lot of things. It started small. She began acting different, not in an obvious way, but enough for me to notice. She'd take longer to reply to texts. Sometimes she wouldn't pick up calls, and when I asked her what was going on, she'd get irritated. "Why are you overthinking everything?" she snapped once. That stuck with me, because I wasn't overthinking. I was observing. There's a difference. Then came the secrecy. She started hiding her phone, tilting her screen away, stepping out of the room to take calls. At first, I tried to convince myself it was nothing. I told myself, don't be that guy, don't be insecure. But deep down, something felt off. And you know that feeling when your gut is telling you something's wrong, but you don't want to believe it? That's exactly where I was. Around the same time, she started getting sick. Her daughter mentioned it casually one day. She's been throwing up a lot. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I assumed it was just a stomach issue or something minor. But now, looking back, that was the first real sign, and I completely missed it. Then one day, she just disappeared. I texted her, no reply. Called her, nothing. Now, to be fair, this wasn't completely unusual. She had moments where she'd go quiet, but this time felt different. One day passed, then two, then three. Still nothing. I kept checking my phone every few minutes, refreshing messages, rereading old conversations, trying to figure out if I had done something wrong. A week went by. A full week. No response. At that point, I couldn't just sit around anymore, so I drove to her place. I remember standing outside her house, just staring at the door. I knocked. No answer. Knocked again. Still nothing. Her car wasn't there, or maybe she just didn't want to open the door. And honestly, that hurt more, because being ignored is one thing, but being deliberately avoided, that hits different. I went back to my car and sent her a message. "I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry." Still nothing. Then I sent another one, and this one I still remember clearly. She was a religious person, so I wrote, "I'm sorry for whatever I did. Even Jesus forgave Judas." I didn't know what else to say. I just wanted some kind of response. Anything. And finally, she replied, "God forgives all." That was it. No explanation, no closure, just that. And then she told me, "Don't text me again," and blocked me. Just like that. Gone. That broke me. Not because the relationship ended, but because of how it ended. No explanation, no conversation, no respect. Just silence. It took me weeks to process it. I kept replaying everything in my head, trying to find the moment where things went wrong, trying to understand what I missed. But I couldn't, because I didn't have the full story. Not yet. About 3 months later, I was at work. I work with the fire department, and that day I was dropping off a patient at a hospice facility. And here's where things get weird. That facility, that's where she worked. As soon as I pulled into the parking lot, I instinctively looked for her car. Her SUV wasn't there, so I assumed she wasn't working that day. Honestly, I felt a little relieved. I didn't want to see her. I wasn't ready. So I went inside, handed over the patient, and started talking to one of the nurses. And then she recognized me. She smiled and said, "Hey, how's she doing?" For a second, I was confused. Then I realized she was talking about my ex, and I said, "Oh, we're not together anymore." The nurse's expression changed immediately. She looked surprised. Then she said something I wasn't expecting at all. "Oh, I thought you knew." And right there, I felt something shift. I asked her, "Knew what?" And she said, "She got fired a while ago, damaged one of the company vehicles." That alone caught me off guard. But then she said something that completely froze me. She asked, "So are you going to take care of the baby when it's born?" I just stood there. I didn't even process it at first. "The baby?" And she said, "Yeah, she's pregnant, right?" And in that moment, everything clicked. The sickness, the secrecy, the distance, the ghosting, all of it. She was pregnant, and it wasn't mine. Because I had gotten a vasectomy after my daughter was born, there was no possibility. None. I felt my stomach drop, like everything inside me just sank. And suddenly, the silence made sense. After that day, I stopped looking for answers, because I had them. And honestly, that gave me closure. Not the kind I wanted, but the kind I needed. It still took time, I won't lie. It messed with my trust.
made me question people, made me more guarded. But eventually, I moved on. I focused on work, focused on myself, and over time, I met someone new. She was a nurse, smart, kind, honest, and most importantly, consistent. Something I didn't realize I valued so much until I lost it. About a year and a half later, I started getting messages from an unknown number. At first, I ignored them, but they kept coming. Messages about forgiveness, about hoping I was doing well, about missing what we had. I didn't respond. I had no interest in reopening that chapter. Then one day, after getting off duty, I walked up to my truck and there was a note on the windshield. From her. She wanted to meet, to talk, to explain. I stood there for a minute, reading it, thinking about everything that had happened. And then I made a decision. I wasn't going to meet her. Some doors are better left closed. But she didn't stop. A few days later, I came home and she was there, waiting. As soon as I saw her, I felt this mix of emotions hit me all at once. Anger, frustration, and strangely, a bit of sympathy. But I ignored her. I walked past her like she wasn't even there. And that's when she started making a scene, calling out my name, trying to get my attention. Finally, I turned around and said, "What do you want?" She looked different, tired, stressed, like life had hit her hard. And she said, "I'm sorry." Then she told me everything. The father of her first child came back into her life. She went back to him. He got her pregnant. And then he left again. She said she didn't know how to tell me, so she didn't. She just disappeared. And now she was struggling. Financially, emotionally. She was about to get evicted, couldn't support her kids, and she was asking for help. Then she said something that honestly shocked me. She asked me to take her back, said I was the only one who ever treated me right. And in that moment, I felt two things, anger and empathy. Not for her, but for her kids, especially her oldest daughter. I cared about that kid. I really did. So I reached into my wallet, pulled out $100, handed it to her, and said, "Buy them some food." Then I looked her in the eyes and said, "Swallow your pride and go back to your mom." I knew their relationship was complicated, but I also knew she had a place there. Then I told her, "I'm not taking you back, and I'm not doing this again." And I walked away. She left that day crying, and I won't lie, it didn't feel good, but it felt right. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel good. It just feels necessary. Last I heard, she moved back with her mom, got her teaching license, and is now working at an elementary school. And me? I'm in a much better place. I'm with someone who respects me, values me, and we're even talking about marriage. And if there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's this. Some people don't deserve a second chance, not because they made a mistake, but because they made a choice.
More drama is waiting. Check out one of these 2 videos next and subscribe so you don't miss the next upload.